Hi, I'm Nate, and this is my 2021 PCT Thru hike gear list. I'll start with my socks and shoes. I'm going to be using some Injinji Smart Wool hiking socks, along with some Darn Tough Smart Wool Merino Wool hiking socks. Later, I'm going to switch over to some Altra alpaca socks, probably in the Sierras. For shoes, I'll be using Altras. I am going to start off with these Olympus 3.5s and then switch over to the King Mountains. I try to stick with the Zero Drop that has the Vibram sole just because I've had really good experience with the Vibram soles. Got the Dirty Girl Gators in camouflage, although I suspect I'm going to need another pair before it's all done. I'm going to be using some basic Under Armour shorts with pockets, although I might start with the LL Bean zip-off pants. For a tent, I went with something a little bit bigger, a little heavier. I think it weighs about 1.5 pounds. The Lightheart Gear Duo. It's actually a two-person tent, but I'm 6'4", and I hate the idea of being trapped in a claustrophobic tent in some bad weather. So I sprung for something a little bit bigger. I like this tent quite a bit. It has given me some concern in rain, but I think it'll be okay. I might have to put one more coat of waterproofing on it, but we'll see. The only downside really is this crossbar. This is like the most important part of the whole tent. But as you can see, if you don't pack it in the bag, you can save quite a bit of space. So it's kind of sketchy, but I keep it off to the side to conserve every little area of space that I can. For footwear at night, I went ahead and got the Goose Feet Gear socks. These are really nice to put your feet in after a long day of hiking. For the backpack, I went with the Waymark Thru. I went with the Thru hike bag just because I didn't think I was going to need the removable hip belt, like Darwin on the Trail always talks about. I did spend a little extra money and get, I don't know if you can see it, but this is just a pouch for the hip belt, and then I got a couple more pouches on the straps for water bottles. The only other modification I've made to it is this Hyperlight pouch. Hyperlight ran a special where you could get their wallet, their fanny pack, and a Dyneema stuff sack for like $100. The fanny pack is really good. For trekking poles, I went with Black Diamond. I got the aluminum ones. They were a little bit cheaper, and I've heard some horror stories of carbon fiber in the mountains, or at least in colder temperatures. I have a Nylofoam pack liner to keep everything dry. I'll be bringing the Garmin InReach Plus just to make sure that I have a map and to give some peace of mind to some friends and family while I'm out on the trail. I'll be taking the Vargo Titanium Bot 700 and just a basic stove. I think I bought this on eBay. It was $10 or so. I do really like these light load towels. They're a little expensive, but they're pretty durable, and they start off about the size of a quarter. And when you add water, you can see they get quite a bit bigger. Got a titanium spork. I've got this Sea to Summit Eros pillow, and it's the Ultralight Deluxe. This pillow is much bigger than I thought it would be, and in hindsight I probably would have bought the smaller one, but what are you gonna do? For power, I went with the RAV Power Bank and wall adapter. This wall adapter is a 2-port 90 watt, and it uses the USB-C or Thunderbolt connection, I believe. And I got the Rav Power Bank 20,000 milliamp hour 60 watt 2-port power bank. So this should keep the S20 Ultra and the headlamp, the Sony RX 100 Mark 7 that I hope to take, and the GPS all charged, hopefully the whole time. I got this hat I'll be bringing, especially through the desert. Hopefully that'll keep some of the sun off of me. I got the Deuce of Spades trowel, the number 3, just because if you have to dig a 6-inch cat hole, you might as well have the bigger trowel. I bought the Night Core headlamp. It has 3 or 4 different settings on it. The real reason I bought it, it's very light, it's very small, it's waterproof, it's rechargeable, and it's like $40 on Amazon. By the way, I'm not selling anything or getting paid for any of this. I'm just hoping to help another person on their through hike adventure. I've spent like the last 2 years obsessing over the gear and the videos on YouTube. This is just a compilation of what I've come up with, and I'll be starting the trail on April 8th. I am going to be documenting some of it, so this channel has been more of a travel channel up until now, but hopefully now I will change it into a Pacific Crest Trail through hike channel. So I'll update it with short clips as often as I can. I won't be able to edit it a whole lot on the trail, but I do hope that you will like and subscribe and follow along. So for the video, I'm going to be bringing this Rode Video Micro. Hopefully I don't regret that. I'm also going to be bringing the Pedco Ultra Pod 3, just to have a tripod. This attaches to a small tree or to one of the hiking poles, and it provides, it makes one of the hiking poles into a pretty good monopod. And it's a small tripod, so you have to be kind of creative, but it's very good for how light it is. For the knife, I am going to bring this Gerber clutch. It's a little multi-tool. It has a screwdriver, a nail file, pliers, and of course a knife. For the medical supplies, I had some friends in the medical field who helped me put this together. This is an emergency splint. Hopefully I'll never need it. No one on the trail will ever need it. But if they do, I happen to have it. It doesn't weigh very much, and the medical shears are tiny. Kleenex. I've got some Luco tape. I've got some Tenacious tape. I got this homemade tooth powder, this remineralizing tooth powder. You can find the recipe on Google. I was going to buy a tooth powder, but it cost $10 an ounce. So instead, I found a recipe on the internet, and I bought $60 worth of supplies from Amazon, and I've made 2 or 3 batches. And it doesn't taste the best, but it is completely swallowable. And my mom loves this stuff. She says that it's really done miracles to some of her teeth. So I highly recommend looking into that if you're considering purchasing a $10 an ounce tooth powder. In here are a bunch of small tins. They're about ½ ounce. I have different antibacterial ointments, zinc oxide. I have an antifungal. I have the Dr. Bronner's soap. I have an emergency hydration solution. I have some Band-Aids, some super glue. I have a nail clipper. And this little trick, most of you probably know it, but I just recently learned about it. Basically, you just take some sewing needles, you duct tape them to the back of your floss. That way you're not stabbing anything, and instead of string, you can use your floss. Alright, so for the water system, I've got the Ketadine Be-Free filter. I've also got a couple of emergency tablets in my first aid if the water's really sketchy, like I've seen in the desert a couple of times. I'll be using these Life Water 1 liter bottles. One of them with a sports cap. Maybe I'll pick up another sports cap along the way. Something really cool, I think I saw it on Elena Osborne's Instagram, is this Collins squeeze tube. You can find these on Amazon. I got a 12 liter Osprey compression sack, and I use that to get my quilt as small as possible. For my quilt, I have the Enlightened Equipment 10 degree Revelation quilt. It's really warm. When ordering these things, I would always get a size bigger than you think, if not two. In hindsight, I probably would have bought, I think, the extra large instead of just the extra large. But once again, I'm taller, and I don't know, I like to wrap myself in these quilts. And this was my first quilt. I didn't even know when I bought my first quilt that they don't wrap all the way around you. They actually just strap to your sleeping pad. So if you've never ordered a quilt before, it's something to look into. Also from Enlightened Equipment is the Visp rain jacket. It's super light. It's kept me dry so far. And I don't know, they're puff. So this thing is super warm, has pockets. I like it a lot, but something that is not very nice about these, if you're anywhere near a flame whatsoever, just the smallest little spark will burn a hole in this material. So keep that in mind. So for the sleep system, I splurged a little bit and I got the Thermarest Neo X-Lite, the inflatable, and I bought the Z-Lite foam pad. It's really comfortable when you use them both. Sometimes you can even use that Z-Lite as the ground cover if you're cowboy camping or whatever. So the idea there is I have a little bit of extra space, and I don't want to be blowing my mattress up in the middle of the afternoon to take a nap, so I can just use the foam. The last thing I have from Thermarest is this stuff sack. You can flip this at the end of the day inside out, and it's got this soft liner, and you can fill it full of your coats or whatever clothes that aren't too stinky, and it turns into a second pillow. So I think that pretty much covers all the gear I'll be taking. Please make sure to leave any comments or questions down below. And I do have a Yursak Major coming on Saturday, along with a lock sack, op sack. Just take with me when I'm not using the bear can through the Sierras, and some copper compression sleeves for my shins to hopefully prevent shin splints, because it seems to be a more common problem than people talk about. So hopefully this video was helpful, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and follow along on the trail for the next 4 to 6 months. Thanks. See you later.